Hey there, luckyDminor again with 4-player chess teams. After the lucky win in the last game, I immediately played another game. Let's see if I can improve. So we have Play Quito with 1300s, Firestorm 1400s, Katja Bernal 1500s. So last time I was the weakest player, this time I'm the strongest player. But we're all pretty weak, I guess, still. So let's see. Red is opening slowly with a knight. I'm opening with the king's pawn to open up the diagonals for my bishop and my queen. Yellow is opening with the bishop's pawn and opening threats from my side to his king. Well, he wants to protect his pawn here. Maybe that's his plan. Okay. Green is opening with the queen's pawn, opening a line for his bishop, possibilities to give checks. So if I could attack here, we would have a possible mate on red. Okay, red is playing slow, preparing fianchetto or something. Oh, I didn't see that we had this opportunity from that point. My plan was to come out and have a possible check on yellow, but checking to my left is not as strong as attacking to my right. Okay. So yellow is blocking that line. And green's just moving pawns. He shouldn't do that in a teams game. In a FFA game, this may be helpful because here the pawn would promote to a queen. But in teams, I believe you need to reach this rank in order to promote. So this is a very long way. Okay. So here's the fianchetto. And I'm just moving out with my knight. I still didn't see the possible attack on the red king. Also, I'm kind of nervous because my partner seems to be not playing a teams game here. Okay, more pawns going forward from yellow. Green moving on with his pawn. Red preparing another fianchetto. That doesn't even look like a teams game here. So I moved back. I finally saw that here's a chance for attacking. Yellow knight comes out, bishop comes out, and green attacks the bishop. Okay, do I have a chance to attack yellow? Well, not really. I could take here with my queen, but then I would lose my queen. Okay. Okay, and red is blocking that attack on that pawn. But I'm still thinking if green would check here, I may get away with taking that pawn. But then, of course, well, the bishop may die. So I think it was not a smart move by me, but I was still expecting and signaling that I expected this attack here. But I think it was a mistake on my side. Okay, and green doesn't even make the move, but I also think he doesn't even play a team's play with me so far. So red gets the queen without any value for me. And at this point, I'm using the chat. I'm saying, hey, we are in a teams game, and green is saying, okay. So I found I needed to use the jet to wake my partner up, even though I made possibly a mistake here. And okay, where are we going? So yellow coming out with his knight. Again, the yellow bishop being under attack. But again, I don't have an attack on yellow. Red is doing the fianchetto. And I'm moving out my knight in order to possibly attack here or there. Oh, I'm just hanging my pawn here against the red bishop. I didn't see that. More mistakes on my side. Okay. Yellow attacks possibly the green pawn. Oh yeah, I was in the game even signaling to green that he could take that bishop first. So this was not really a mistake because I saw that, and finally green and I start to communicate and do something together. Also, at the same time, while this red bishop was attacked, I attacked another red bishop. And so here in an instant, red has lost 2 bishops, which is a great procedure for us. Okay, yellow's moving forward. I signaled green that I would take here and give a check. So he just exchanges the bishop for the knight. And I'm taking the knight with check. Unfortunately, green doesn't have another attack to go with it. Instead, green is being attacked with the queen. And red cannot support that attack in the moment. So green counterattacks yellow. And red moves away. So again, yellow is under attack and I don't have an attack. So it's always good in teams to have a prepared attack on the player to your left, because whenever your partner is attacking him, then you can support that attack. And if you're not prepared, you cannot really do something. Well, in this case, I can take this pawn, and I do. The pawn is protected, but since the queen is under attack, my bishop should be safe. But yellow doesn't see it or doesn't want to see it, and I'm losing my bishop. But green is taking the queen, so that's a good price that yellow has to pay. Even though he will possibly get another bishop from there or there, and thus he got 2 bishops for 1 queen and a pawn. So it's not too good for us. My bishop gets attacked and protects. And again, check for green. And green intercepts with the knight. And red starts to move pawns. And at this point in the chat, green told me don't let him promote. But I believe that that green is thinking that promotion starts here, and it isn't. It would only start over there. So in the 11th rank, I mean here. Okay. So I develop my knight. Oh yeah, green hung his pawn. Well, had to do because he had to protect the king. Well, he could have moved aside. Okay. Green is developing. Pawn is moving. And I attack red here. So my plan here is to develop myself. If red takes, I can develop my rook. If red doesn't take, I can take and have an open file for my rook. So development and speed and development in teams is much more important than in FFA. In FFA, you can turtle and lock yourself up in your position for quite a while. But in teams, you have to be active. Okay. Green attacks yellow. Red attacks my bishop. I move aside and attack the red rook. And again, if now green would have an attack on red, that may be helpful, but he doesn't. His queen is like still passive. And at this point in the chat, I was telling him, activate your queen, because I saw that that we need more strengths in the game and more possibilities to join for joint attacks. Okay, yellow's developing the knight, protecting his bishop, and still green is taking it, trading the knight for the bishop. That's a good move, I guess. And red is attacking me. So again, in teams play, of course, much more than in FFA, trading is a good thing if you can trade with value, because you're always a team and you're not playing 1 against 3. Okay, I have to move away again, and yellow takes. So here again, the activation of the queen would possibly be crucial. But he castles. Well, was maybe scared that the rook could attack, and I don't know if yellow would have an attack to go with it. So he castles for safety. And the red pawn is moving on. I attack again the rook. Yellow pawn is moving. And finally the green queen comes out and attacks the knight here, and possibly that knight too. Okay, the rook protects the second knight. I attack that pawn and develop my knight, just moving forward. And yellow is covering that knight too. At this point, I was seeing and signaling to green that green could attack here, and if I move my knight away, I would support that attack for a mating situation here. But he didn't see in the. I mean, I signaled it, but he didn't do it. And he just hung his knight there. And the knight gets taken. But still, the opportunity is on. And still, green does not see it, attacks the knight, opens up his king position, so that's not too good. And red is moving forward, and I'm just developing. I didn't want to play my knight in advance, because then when the green queen would move, yellow would immediately know that he has to protect. Okay, yellow attacks green. So possible threat is here to have a fork on rook and queen. And finally, the queen moves. I don't know if she just moves because of the threat or if he understood what I meant. I signaled several times that I wanted this move from him. Okay. Red queen moves forward. I think he's still seeing attack opportunities on green. And finally, I'm opening also my bishop line, and now yellow would need to move that pawn, for example, or move that pawn. But he didn't do that. So he just moved another pawn, which doesn't help this situation. And green sees the possibility and checks yellow. So is there anything red could do now? Yes, there is. So red would just need to, well, no, that doesn't help. If the rook goes in between, I can just take the rook and protect the queen. And before red can take my bishop, yellow would be mated. So that wouldn't work. Is there anything else that red could do? Yes, he could. He could give a check and sacrifice his rook. Then I would have to take the rook. Well, I could just take it with my pawn and still yellow would be mate. Okay, so that doesn't help either. Anything else red could do? No, I don't see anything. Okay, red just attack green in a move of despair. And I move my knight and take another knight, but green is already killed. I was curious because I thought even before I made this move that yellow would already be mated, but the king was still like yellow and live and shining. So I was curious if I made a mistake, but then I remembered that in the rules for a teams game, it says that the king is alive until he has to move. So if I made a mistake, for example, moved my my bishop away, then he could still take the queen and come out alive. But if I do not make a mistake, then when it is his turn, then he's finally made it. Okay, so it was a little tough to get the communication rolling with green and myself. But in the end, of course, we had a good game and we won this. I again won some ranking points, now 1728. So maybe I can climb up the ladder step by step. Thank you for watching and have a nice day.